Celtics fans, it feels like it's been forever since we've last been here, and as you can see, we have a special guest, but we got a lot to get through today, so let's not waste any time. I'm your host, Vinnie Carbone.
And I'm Brady Levinson.
And I'm Keegan Brown. Let's get right into Celtics catch-up.
Good ball fake, one more. Tatum! Oh, he caught one!
18-5 since we were last here with you on the show. The Celtics have been tearing it up, especially in Boston. They're now 20-1 at home. Unreal.
Crazy.
And they have 10 losses total. I can count on my fingers how many losses the Celtics have, not including the 3 that were in overtime. Only 2 of those losses were by double digits or more, and the rest, which was 5 more, were by 7 or less. So, I mean, we've been in a lot of these games, but Keegan, Brady, so many games can be used as examples, but tell me what our 2 stars out of our arguably 5 stars in our starting lineup, what do they have to do to win a championship? What do they have to do to make this Celtics team the most successful they've been since they won their last championship?
Well, I mean, as we've said in past episodes, they need to share the wealth, not have any selfishness. I mean, we knew going into this season that there's going to be more stars in the lineup. There's going to be more fight for scoring points. And, you know, the scoring numbers have been down, and that's what we expected to see, and that's good. However, we've seen players like Tatum. Like, Tatum is obviously one of the best players in the NBA, but it only can help so much when he can't do much in the clutch.
Sure.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. I feel like when you're taking a look at some of the most clutch stars in the league, you don't really mention Jason Tatum's name in there. I mean, I can't really think of the last great clutch moment he's had other than that Timberwolves game a couple weeks ago, which was insane.
Sure.
But, you know, he just hasn't shown time and time again that he can make those shots big, late. I mean, you know, we saw it in the Denver game, for example. He had the ball late. He was getting smothered, I believe, by his MPJ. And, you know, it was a clanker that he put up. But at the same time, it wasn't the best shot that we could have found at that situation, but I'll get into that later. But overall, we know that the talent is there with Tatum and especially with JB as well. But I can name more Jaylen Brown clutch moments than I can than Tatum moments right now, and I feel like that's saying something because JT is far and away, I believe, the more physically gifted and talented player. So we do need to see the clutch gene kind of come out from him, I believe.
And that also goes with efficiency. And Brady, can you talk to me a little bit about Tatum and Brown's efficiency as the 2 main scorers on the Celtics?
Yeah, going back to that loss against the Warriors, I mean, Tatum shot 5 for 17 and just 2 for 9 from 3 in that loss. And it's games like those that he's just going to have to give the ball up and hopefully someone else can pick up the load. And there's another game, that blowout loss against the Bucks. Tatum and Brown shot 7 for 20. And, I mean, they only played that one half, but still, the efficiency in that half, not something you want to see. And obviously they're going to have breakout games, like Tatum's 45-point performance against the Timberwolves that you mentioned. They also had a combined 73 against the Mavericks the other night. So they're going to have games where they play well together. But the debate for the past few seasons has always been, will Tatum and Brown be able to play together and bring the Celtics to a championship? And right now, I mean, they've looked good. They've looked really good so far this season. But sometimes they're just going to have to give it up, and hopefully the other stars now can pick up the load.
Definitely. And I think when you're talking about the efficiency with the 2 stars, this Celtics team, they live and die by the 3-point shot.
Yes, they do.
That's their strategy. Joe Mazzulla's strategy is to get more 3-point shots up than the other team. He's made that clear. But when you have guys like Tatum and Brown who are on nights they won't be great from the arc, it just troubles me how there's a lack of aggression at some points and a lack of driving to the paint. I mean, you know, you look at Jaylen Brown, this dude is a physical specimen. I mean, he's got a wingspan the size of an airplane. I mean, this guy can get to the rack when at will. And, you know, when you're running this offense that is so dependent on a 3-point shot, and you have 2 stars that can have down nights from 3, it can be kind of brutal at times and calls for adjustment which we haven't really been seeing so far into the season, and I'd like to see some of that adjustment from Mazzulla in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, I love how you brought that up, Keegan. That's a great point as we see other teams like the Bucks, like we were talking about before, how they have made coaching changes. And yes, Mazzulla is the youngest coach. Yes, he did have a couple of good seasons, but when it really comes down to those games and the game plans, it's not only the players. Like you said, it's the coaches. It's what the game plan is during the timeouts, what the plays they're drawing up, and how Mazzulla affects his star players on the court.
Yeah, and the clutch moments are big. Again, I'll reference that Denver game again. That last possession, 15 seconds left on the clock, we were down 2.
Yep.
We dribble the ball out for 10 seconds. I'm thinking we're going to try and run a quick play there and not call a timeout because we all know Joe Mazzulla is famous for not using those timeouts, but uses the timeout kind of late. We have 5 seconds left on the clock. You can draw up some better plays.
Yep.
You can draw up, at the very least, a coin flip play. Force it down low. Give it to Porzingis. Something of that sort. We give it to Tatum ISO getting smothered.
Yep.
An absolute clank shot to end the game. It's just, there's a lack of urgency from the coaching staff in these moments. We've seen it in the playoffs last year. It's a big reason why Philly even took us to Game 7. And again, it really does have to change in the playoffs, or we are going to face some very major problems against some great teams, great coach teams as well.
Yeah, and it's not like we're terrible in the clutch either. I mean, we're 13-8, and the NBA defines clutch as within 5 points with 5 minutes to go. We actually found an interesting stat where it's the players' average points in those clutch moments. Tatum's at 2.7, which is about 30th in the league, but then you get Porzingis, he's at 2.9, and I know 0.2 is not a lot, but within 5 minutes, that's still a pretty sizable difference. And so, like Keegan was talking about, putting Tatum in those ISO situations obviously is not the best idea. And again, 13-8 in the clutch, and we've been doing well as overall with the offensive defensive rating as well. However, something's got to change, especially in that clutch.
So I like that. Like on paper, we look good. On paper, we're first in the league in net rating. We're third in offensive rating, second in defensive rating. I mean, on paper, we're one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. But the reason we haven't won a championship in these last 3-4 years is because of these reasons you guys are bringing up. And one play over these last couple weeks since we've been gone really stood out to me. I mean, all Boston fans have probably seen this play over the last few weeks, but Keegan, you mentioned it earlier, the Wolves game, one of the most memorable clutch moments of Tatum's career, probably.
All this slander about JT not being a clutch player, we're about to see a phenomenal shot.
Well, yeah, the reason we're bringing it up is because it is one of few that he has hit this season and in the past seasons.
Yep.
As you can see, games in overtime, we're down by 2. We're up by 2. Drew Holiday gets the steal, and he's bringing it down the court, and look who's wide open. JT.
Good night.
Nothing but net. But that doesn't even finish the clip. It is the celebration. Look at that. The frown.
So cold.
And the kiss of the crowd, as you can see, once again, Drew Holiday with his amazing defensive abilities, his facilitating to Tatum. Nylon.
Unreal. Only 19, too, by the way, guys.
Only 19.
Only 19.
And as you can see right
Always
here,
gotta keep that in mind.
The celebration after he hits the shot, he frowns.
Oh, the stank face.
And he kisses to that TD Garden crowd. And yeah, Celtics, we're looking for a chip this year, guys. I really enjoyed having you, Keegan. You bring up great points.
And as a special thanks to you guys for having me on the show. For I do come bearing gifts. I do have here some Celtics ketchup.
Oh my
Celtics
goodness.
ketchup.
Awesome.
I heard we were doing ketchup on the show, so I figured I'd bring some and just
Wow.
as a
Look at
sort
that.
of show
Look at
warming
that.
gift. Yeah, there you go.
That is a great idea. Wow, that is awesome.
North Dakota embroidered too.
North Dakota?
North
Any
Dakota.
Mass? Oh, they're all North Dakota.
And they're all North Dakota.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Well, Keegan, thank you very much. That will do it for this episode of Celtics Catch Up.
Yep.
And
Catch up.
Brady, go ahead.
Celtics will play the Miami Heat. Big game at the Heat tomorrow night at 7:30. Celtics, they haven't been great on the road, 14-9. I mean, obviously it's okay, but the 21 record at home has really been bringing us up so far. So we'll look for the Celtics to keep it up on the road. Hopefully get W again tomorrow night.
Big grudge match against the Heat.
Terry Rozier, right?
Yep, Terry
Terry
Rozier.
Rozier's
Yeah,
on the team.
actually,
That
that's
was
true.
really fun to
Miami.
see.
Yeah, we know Celtics fans, we do not like the Heat at all.
We do not.
Hashtag beat the Heat.
Heat.
That's going to be all. See you guys next time. Go Celtics.